So we have accomplished something just by advertising that we're gonna look at this and maybe go with a contract, but, you know, will the rates stay low if we don't? Or, you know, I don't know. I don't know, what the contractors would do.
Well, the rates are not uniform whatsoever.
No, it's up to that
I know, it's,
carrier,
you know,
of
even
what they're gonna
the
charge.
same carrier will have different rates for different, mine's different than, I've talked to quite a few people, mine's different than theirs is the rate that they pay and what I pay.
The same service?
Introductory
Yeah.
offer, yeah, they'll throw out like, it's like a cable company.
Yeah.
They'll throw out introductory offers and give you 6 months at such and such, and then
Mine's for 2 years.
boom, they start,
2 years.
it's
Yeah.
2 years, 6 months, whatever, they'll throw some surcharges and some rate increases, so, yeah, so
Yeah.
it is all over the board, especially on
like-
commercial.
Some of them are $50, some of them are
It's
60,
pretty up to
mine's,
speed,
I think mine's 72 for 3 months.
Explain
For-
that
for which
contract I
carrier?
sent out
Waste
wasn't
management?
intended to be contract,
Yeah.
just for discussion.
Yeah.
And then I put together these kind
That's like I
Well,
say,
public is
consideration.
36.
And the one we're talking about is, whatever is that
that's the
goal.
same place.
I know, but
That's
it's
what Teddy was
36,000.
addressing when you came in. What is it we're trying to achieve here? And if we all kind of agree on the goals, then we can talk about the details.
Is one of the details is going to require everyone to have trash
That's
service?
one of the issues.
You know,
That's-
and another thing that we accomplished besides less carriers, the rates have gone down, is that there's less trucks on the road, which is something we talked about, having all these guys running around. So, you know,
Yeah, it's no
I
different.
mean,
from
right
the
now is
diesels going
where we
down
want it
Bush
to be,
Street
but
get
will it
to
stay there, is the
Turtle
question.
Rock, you know?
I think that's one of the main things that we talked about is, you know, street conditions, having less trash trucks on the streets, price consolidation, trying to save money. We've already seen, you know, what Republic has done with us just advertising this. They brought more services in and lowered their rates. So I think those are probably the three main goals, talking about saving on price, reducing wear and tear on streets, and offering more services. Because right now, everybody has to take, if they are recycling, they have to take it down to the recycling center. So, and then
Nuh-uh.
part of it,
I don't think mine does recycling.
well, Republic just offered that service now, and they never had that till, what, about a month, 2 months ago?
6 months
No,
ago.
it's been-
6 months?
it's been
Okay.
6
Yeah.
months,
6
yeah.
months ago, yeah.
I just signed up for that part of it like a couple months ago, so we've never had that availability, but we put that notice out a year and a half ago. It took them a year to get that in place. They had to free up a truck from some other place, from what I was told, and brought the recycling truck over here, and now they're, and it just makes sense that they're taking our recycling and turning around selling it, and making money and subsidizing our trash hauling costs off of that. So when we give them our recyclables, they can sell that and then lower our overall trash costs. So if they do that on a larger scale, there's potential savings, even more savings than what we have now. So I think those are the three main things. And then just overall cleanliness. We have people out there that are not paying for trash service and trying to find different ways about it. I know there's a lot of, and I'll tell you the two prime examples. My dad doesn't pay for home trash service. He takes it to the store. He's got a dumpster he pays for there. And every couple of days he takes trash to the jewelry store and throws it in the dumpster there. Nothing wrong with that. My mom, who lives pretty close to one of my apartment buildings, just walks it down the street and takes it and puts it in a dumpster that I pay for at a different dumpster. So I've got both my parents that are probably going to be, you know, resisting this whole concept, you know. So, but I think it's worth talking about to find out if this really is a good thing for the city, because I think with, you know, cheaper rates and recycling and saving wear and tear on streets and overall cleanliness of the city, I think it's a discussion we need to have.
But I don't think you can force it onto citizens if
There's a
they
lot of cities that do that.
force it onto
Yeah,
them.
it's just like water and sewer. I mean, you
Yeah,
have
but-
to have water and sewer to live in your house, right? You have to have it. To have an occupancy permit, you have to have water and sewer. If you're having water and sewer, it means you are generating some type of trash or refuge, or, you know, so.
Could be biodegradable.
Could be.
We also require that single-family residences properly dispose of their trash. We don't prescribe the method.
Yeah.
We just, but it's in our code, that you have to do it.
Yeah, but, you know, there has to be an opt out of this, because, you know, we got seniors that have one little bag of trash, So, I mean, there's no way that we can force them, just because you live in a city, to pay for trash service. You can't expect somebody that
Almost all the
has a
companies have it.
farm or someplace where they would take their trash out there and dispose of it.
Sure. And
There
most
has
of the
to be a-
companies have a senior rate, which is a lot cheaper, a lot more discounted than the regular rate. So there are some workarounds, not completely. I mean, it's almost impossible from what I've gathered to have a company be able to opt out of service.
Well, I think that's, I guess, a big issue with citizens is
Oh,
that
absolutely.
you are forcing me to take trash service. There has to be an option for certain people. You know, people in town should be able to sign up to what they want, and it's their choice.
But we don't allow them the option of signing up for water and sewer.
Yeah, we do.
Sure
They
we do.
can have it or they
No,
cannot
you
have
cannot
it.
have an occupancy without water and sewer.
Who's the water sewer police that says,
Or just our ordinances say you have to have, yeah.
Well,
I'm not saying we're gonna get.
I think this is
100%.
different from electric, water, and sewer and things like that. This is different.
it is different, I think.
I don't.
I'm not
I can't
arguing.
see-
I'm not
I can't
arguing.
see
I'm just-
forcing citizens
Yeah,
to take this.
yeah.
They should have the option.
So if I said to you, unless you have universal service, every home is built, you're not gonna get a carrier who's willing to come into town,
Right, no other carrier.
then would you?
It has to be the carrier
No.
with the contract, or you dispose of it some other way.
Well, this hasn't been said to me, but I'm just saying that if I said to you, without universal service, none of the carriers will want to sign a contract with St. Genevieve, would you be in favor of the universal service so we can get a deal we think is in the best interest of the citizens from a hauler? Or would you be in favor of not doing it because you don't want to force anybody to have trash service?
Are you asking me? I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
I
the
would be
question.
against it.
Okay.
I would personally be against forcing everybody in this city.
And I don't know that that means we
To
can't get a
have-
carrier to come in, it's a thought.
And most of our carriers, do we just really have CWI and Republic, right?
No, Republic bought CWI.
Oh, so what's the
Oh, it's,
other, Waste Management?
I thought CWI bought it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but,
Yeah.
yeah, we only had two.
And there are at least two others who are operating in other cities not too far from here. And there's a new independent that started 2 years ago in Perryville who is interested in coming into St. Genevieve, but is waiting to see what we do, because he knows he can't compete against the national carriers on a kind of contract we're discussing here.
And the other thing is they're gonna offer the recycling?
Well, it's all part of the details.
Waste Management
Right.
doesn't offer recycling.
But they might. You know, I mean, if they can, it'll be a business decision on their part whether they submit a bid or not. But part of that, I think, would be, I think everyone here would say that would be mandatory, to be able to offer curbside recycling, if we go forward. I think everyone would want, if we're, gonna go that route. So then they might not have a
Because
choice.
then you cut your trash almost in half. I mean, you could
Oh,
almost
it's
do it every
amazing.
other
I mean,
week
yeah.
for pickup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just by 1 week.
You can make it mandatory
Trash
where,
one
part of the
week.
contract can also make it mandatory where they pick up everything on both days, or on the same day.
Same day, so it's
Instead of
less.
trying to figure out.
I don't think they can do that, can they?
Oh, yeah. So if they want the business, they can. They're bringing different trucks anyway.
So you'd have 2 trucks the same day coming
Yeah.
through to pick up.
Yeah, but it's the same thing as having them come on Monday or Wednesday. It's the same truck, it's just
Well, the recycling truck only comes every other week.
every other week. Because right now, they don't have that many customers. It
Right.
doesn't make sense for them to make a weekly,
Well, yeah.
weekly run.
Mhm.
But if they got the whole
Yeah.
contract in,
Yeah,
so.
but do you have any idea what Perryville charges? That's part of them. Well, I know I talked to a guy about it, and he used to live in Saxon. He's been living here about 2 or 3 years now. He said it was $7 a month.
I didn't look at rates. I
And
mean,
he
I-
said that was recycling too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if that's comparable at this time, because of fuel or whatever, but.
I mean, there's no question that the more customers they know they have,
Yeah,
the better the deal they can give you.
yeah. But he said it was on his water bill,
Yeah.
same as that, I mean, if we do something.
So that's how we would bill this?
Well, I don't know.
Would
There's
it be a separate bill than
two
the
ways
water
of looking
bill?
at it. I mean, one would be to give a franchise to a company like you gave a franchise to a cable television company, but you didn't collect their bills for them.
Right.
You prescribed a level of service and certain parameters for their operation, but they had to handle signing people up and collecting. You could do that with this.
Or we can do it like we do with Alliance, where we still bill, but we contract them for the labor, but we actually do the billing.
You
You know,
know,
so we can do the billing internally still ourselves, but
in addition to
I
billing.
don't know, we
it-
would want to.
Once we get in the billing business, we're also in the service business, because the calls will come to City Hall, the
Right.
complaints will come here, you know, we'll become
and you
the
have,
contact.
you'll be the middleman, and, because you're still being, so,
Right. No,
if you set up a separate billing, but,
Well, I don't, so we couldn't afford to set up separate,
yeah.
I mean, unless the company was willing to
Yeah.
pay for the software. It would just go on the utility bill, and I, you know,
Did you get a chance to talk to Herculaneum?
not since we met. no.
Okay. Herculaneum is one city that's the closest, that's of same, about the same size, that they use one of the companies now, they're using Herculaneum, who does just the residential. Doesn't have a contract on the commercial or industrial, they just have.
Well,
the
that's true in
residential.
Hillsborough and DeSoto also.
Okay.
Everybody's doing just residential.
Now, isn't Perryville, the city has their own,
City owns it.
it's a city-owned service. I mean, is that something we ever thought about?
Well,
Buying your own trucks.
yeah, I mean, it's, the barriers to entry are substantial.
Or we can lease them from those guys.
And where do you go to?
Take it to landfill and have that, liability of taking over the, to,
We could
Well,
start.
I don't know, I guess it works for Perryville.
Did you have
I don't know where they take
that I got
I
from
don't know.
MML?
They got a lot
I have
of
it.
people down there.
That guy begged me to come talk to the board mayor.
They probably
He said when this time came about, give him a call,
Teddy.
he'd be happy to make an arrangement.
you know.
Maybe we need another work session with.
Oh, we're not gonna resolve this tonight. Well, unless we might resolve this tonight, because you might just say, no, I don't wanna do it.
Teddy, I've
And
been
then we don't have
thinking
to talk to anybody.
I've been thinking about your issue, as far as making it mandatory, and I received 2 calls, one yesterday, one today, both from senior citizens, concerned about doing mandatory. Both of them have trash service now, and they just basically they wanted to be assured that there still would be a senior rate. So I haven't got any calls from anybody, and I assured her that, there still would be, we would put that in the contract where there still would be a senior rate, some type of
Which is
discount.
fine.
Yeah. But to go back to your point about making it mandatory and having exemptions, I thought about the workaround to that, to try to get maybe grandfather in for a few years, until you sunset it and not allow, just eventually go all mandatory where they do that. And it would be more of a hassle on our end, but it might be the right thing to do. If you gave everyone service in town, but if they came down and we gave them a form to fill out to relinquish their mandatory rights and give some, I don't know what the answer would be on that, but maybe have them come down and fill out who didn't want to have the mandatory service and make them justify why they didn't need service.
Or what they're gonna do with the trash.
Their planned trash disposal, yeah. I mean, if they combine with their neighbors, that's not fair, But if they have, but like I said, my parents' situation where my dad pays $100 a month for a dumpster, but he wants curbside service and recycling, so he's already said he'll sign up for residential because he hates having to go down to the recycling center all. He does it, but so he said he'd pay $10, $15 a month easy for not having that, have to go down. So,
I haven't heard from anyone who called and said, encouraged us to to do this. I have heard from people who have questions and some who oppose. Some of the questions, one person today said to me, you know, there's just no citizen demand for this. You know, it's not like the citizens think this is something that we should do. I said, well, there is a demand, it's just indirect. They demand we fix their streets. You know, and they just, kind of, there's a connection here between.
Yeah, but it's not just the trash trucks. I mean, you got diesels that come right through the middle of town. I mean, you got,
Yeah, but they're not going on our side streets as much, you know, so you're right about that, I agree 100%.
Well, I
But
mean,
they're
you
not
got
tearing up our
They
side
all have
streets.
to go
Yeah,
I
on
mean,
the streets.
you got diesels going right down through downtown.
yeah, I agree with
you know
that,
what
on
I
the
mean?
main thoroughways, but they're not tearing up the side streets that aren't built as strong as our side streets. You get those trash trucks going through, you know, Lynn subdivision, which we all know has got the worst foundation, you know, and they're going down the road with single axles with, you know, full loads, and that's tearing up those streets. You know, whereas opposed, like I said, you know, tractor trailers going through the middle of town and, you know, we built, but no one else, you know, you don't have the tractor trailers going through Lynn subdivision or any of the other ones, you know, as much, you know. So this is probably one way that we can really cut down on wear and tear.
But I think it's the force, you know, like you force people,
I get it.
you know.
And I don't know, I mean, if you look at what people were paying a year ago for trash service and what they could be paying next year, I think when people realize the savings that could be involved, it could be a real, you know, a real benefit to everyone. So,
Overall.
Overall, yeah.
Because you gotta bid it out, you gotta take bids. And so you're gonna get your best price.
Yeah, $7 a month sounds pretty good.
Might go to 6.
How many could we offer them as far as households? Is that what we're looking at,
There's
universal
about
service?
We've got
1,800?
1,800 and something.
Water
Water
customers.
customers.
about 1,800 water.
That's how we would, estimate it.
Well,
Well, you'd have to,
Is there an ordinance that states that you can't share trash? Is it a city ordinance or is it a state that you can't share
there's no.
trash?
I don't think there's any
nothing.
ordinance that says you can't.
Our only requirement is that you properly contain it and dispose of it. And we move beyond that.
24 hours on the street, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's.
Well, the container, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've had a few people talk to me, and their thing is, why mess with it when it's working fine?
Well, some people pay
But
like $50
I'm with you,
every 3
Joe.
months and,
When we started this process, to give a notification in 2 years, and then things started working better, and they're where they should have been.
Yeah.
And so what's gonna happen?
Would it go
like I
to a
told
vote?
Martin, what's gonna happen?
Would you send
if
it
we
to a
let
vote to
expire?
citizens?
It's gonna go right back up.
Yeah, then they don't.
Good.
There's no reason for them to lower
don't
it.
have to.
That's why they voted you, so
I
you can
know,
vote for it.
I know.
put it on the ballot.
So,
You know?
But
Yeah.
you
You can
know,
try for 2 years, if it
You
doesn't
have to
work,
wait for the
you
next
can
one.
sign a 2-year
April
contract, if it doesn't
election.
work, you go right back to what you were doing,
yeah.
you know, so, and actually, any of them
Well, I
would be
know some
severable.
people are paying like a ridiculous
Uh-huh.
amount on trash. I mean, I only pay very minimal, but I picked up the new service from
I've
Republic.
got 6, I've got a dumpster, and I've got 6 apartments, pay almost $1,000 a year for that dumpster.
That's crazy.
Because I can't put it in the, you know, the 95-gallon containers, because they just won't give me, I think I need like 6 of those, and it's about the same cost when you start, it's almost $1,000 a year in trash.
Mhm.
So if you figure I could pay for 6 individual ones, or have them pay for it, or however, you know, actually would go on their water bills, because they pay their own water and sewer bills. It's crazy that you're paying that amount of money, you know, so. But other people, are that new rate, like, whatever that new rate Republic is,
It's like cheap,
12 or 15 bucks, something like that,
12,
yeah.
A month?
With recycling.
yeah.
Hmm.
But you could get by every other week without trash service, because
Yeah.
if you recycle properly, then, you know, that odd week, they pick up the recycling, so.
So if we do like agreement or a contract, I mean, is residential, commercial, and industrial? Is it
The
all
question
gonna
there
be
is,
in
do you want
one
to just do
group?
residential? Do you want to do residential and commercial? Do you want to make some provision for industrial pickups? All those are possibilities. Most of the towns of comparable size just do residential. And then the carriers compete for the commercial just the way they are now.
So we're either gonna do something,
And I think that would even bring the rates down on commercial if we, I think having one trash carrier for residential, I think they would substantially lower their commercial rate to try to drive out the other competitors. So I think
Yeah, they're gonna
with
bid
just
on it.
doing a residential program, I think you would substantially drive down your commercial rates as well.
but we've got until,
September, well, I can't do anything before.
August, hopefully we'd be done, have a decision at the latest before August strikes. Because that's when it would go into effect, is in September, October.
That's
Yes,
as soon as
yes.
we can.
That's-
The soonest that we can enter into a contract is September 16th.
I met a gentleman, and this is at an MIL conference. He begged me to come over and talk to the Board of Aldermen and Mayor. I passed his name on. I assume you still have that. If not, I can get it for you. And he said that he could, if you're gonna do this thing with trash, he said, he's been through it many times with many cities. He begged for a chance. I said, when it comes
He's an
around,
equipment- he's
I'll
an-
give you a call. I gave the.
He was an equipment salesman, as I recall.
Yes,
In
that's
that
what he
business, he
does.
has
He's in
dumpsters and
refuse trash.
compactors and stuff.
He does not pick up trash.
Right.
And I think he could probably give us the answers to all our questions.
Well,
And he begged me to come over here, and I didn't want to set a date because it wasn't my,
We
No,
probably
it's,
talked to,
no decision is getting made tonight. But,
right.
So it's not even until
But it's
August
good to get it
before
out there.
a true decision has to be.
well, I kind of,
Nothing.
my
Let them know
the
one way or
purpose
the other.
tonight is to decide whether or not to proceed. And if you want to proceed, we ought to kind of go through these questions and decide on what are we going to proceed relative to these issues.
well, I thought.
It's definitely good
Then,
rates.
then we can bring in consultants and talk to people and, you know, we can do,
Yeah, we want to.
but we'll know,
We want to.
we'll have a consensus of the board as to whether we're going to do it and in what fashion we're going to do it. So whether we're going to do a decision can get made tonight if the answer is no. If the answer is yes, then we have a lot of work to do before we
Okay,
get there.
If we answer yes, what is a timeline as far as, like public input, another workshop, or?
Yeah, we can
what are
have public
what are we
hearing,
looking
we
at
can,
As far as
you tell, you,
making sure that we understand the whole process, just like Carl was saying, getting somebody in here to explain to us certain things, get the public in, see how they feel. Also.
So the-
I think what I said, we need to go through some of these things and talk about some of those things so we know what to have, and maybe in a month, set up a public hearing, and after we kind of put out
In blanks and.
a proposal,
Put me down.
so that we
Remind me
know
Alex.
kind of what are some of our options,
Put me down.
we can get more input. I really,
Well,
I would
first-
say a vast majority of residents are already paying for trash service. I think you only hear from the few people that don't pay for trash service. We're only hearing from those, which is fine. I mean, they have just as much right to have input into it too, and they've already come up with a way to effectively, remove their trash from their house, so it's not like they're doing anything wrong, and they need to have input. But the vast majority of people, I think, would benefit from this. But a public hearing would be good.
So to answer question number one, why does the city want to regulate solid waste hauling? Is to minimize wear and tear on the streets
ensure,
and to get a better rate,
ensure
Reduce
competitive
costs.
rates.
reduce costs.
And
And add additional
yeah,
services that
control, right.
we currently don't have.
That's a good reason.
Yeah.
And limit the number as.
Because not only can you out for recycling, you can do like what they call like big trash days, like twice a year, they'll come by and pick up white goods, dishwashers and refrigerators and tires, and you can set all the hazardous material, they can even pick up some of those on certain days, so you can set up some things where we didn't have that. You can set up where someone will even come by and pick up yard waste.
Yeah, but we haven't done.
But if you don't have a way to get it down to the dump, now you've got curbside service. You have a lot of people that want to burn all the time, which is fine. We've made those. How often do we have fights about
Well, if
burn
they-
permits and
paid the $7 for trash, they wouldn't have to pay the $7 for the burn pit.
There you go. So, or it's,
Well,
I don't know what
let's-
burn permit is, $5? What's the burn?
Dollars.
$1.
You know, not everybody will run all the services, so maybe you can have like add-ons. Like if you want to spend so much money for your basic service, but if you want this and this and this, it's gonna cost you more a month.
You can
Because
complicate it as
a lot
much
of
as you
people don't want to drive the Cadillac.
I know, I was just thinking, that sounds very complicated.
Yeah. It's- You know, that's one of the
That's what I
problems
think.
is
There's
if
gotta be some choices.
if an equipment operator is driving down the road and he stops at every house, and he stops at every house, but if he stops at 2 houses and it skips 1 and then picks another 3 and it skips 2 and it's just like, whoa, how do you do that?
So they do not.
Well, you got to put out your trash in their cans on the day they pick up.
They don't have-
And when they see one of theirs, they pick it up.
You kidding, that one don't pay them.
We talked about seeing if the 2 local carriers, if we could contact them and see what their current subscription is now, how many carriers they have now.
If they're customers, though.
How many customers they have now? Could you put that on your to-do list to see if they would give at least a number? Of course, we don't need names and addresses, but just
But it'd be
a
handy
number
if
of
you
current,
did that.
yeah. If we know we have roughly 1,800 water subscribers and they have 1,400 trash customers, you know, it'd be helpful information.
No, the 1,800 is total,
Yeah,
but we have residential, commercial, we can figure it out.
yeah. Maybe it's 1,700, I don't know, but,
Okay, so, assuming we're not going to make the decision to not do it tonight, that's pretty clear. It's going down to, if we pursue it, which option do you think makes more sense for us? To give a franchise to a hauler, make them responsible for signing people up, collecting, and customer service?
Well, I would.
Or to
put
make it a
that on
city,
our
to make it a
staff.
city
well, you just add it
utility?
to a water bill. All you do is put $7 on the water bill. So
Well-
anybody that gets a water
And
bill.
then somebody has to manage that, pay that out. And then if their water bill's late, then, you know, then you have to deny their
We
trash
shut off water for
service.
non-payment, do we deny, do we also do trash?
It seems very tedious for
But they're just gonna raise the cost. If they have to bill, they're gonna add more money onto your,
Yeah, somebody's gotta be here
they're gonna have to
to
hire
field phone calls.
one
We
person.
had other options.
So that's gonna just raise everybody's bill by about $2.
Contractors now.
But maybe not, you know.
I'd rather have a franchise do everything myself. Just put it in the contract. Let them do it.
You just raise your rates. They'll just charge you for doing it. And then they'll add profit into it.
Well, but we're gonna pay for it anyway. We can pay because we're doing it, we're gonna pay because they're doing it.
Somebody's gotta pay for
We're
it.
gonna have to hire somebody if we do this.
And the city and Alderman get their trash hauled free.
Oh, whoa.
I don't think that was part of the rules.
Just thought I'd bring it up.
Well,
Wouldn't that be like taking advantage
That's
of your
okay.
position
I'll be
then?
down in the senior race.
AARP.
Me too.
So, is that the route
That's a route.
we're gonna
Yeah,
work
'cause
on?
would they, that's the other thing, is would they cut a
Pros and cons of it.
senior rate cheaper?
Yeah, well, that's down here later.
What's the pros and cons of franchise or the city being the?
If the city does it, we have to set up, you know, it goes into our billing system, we obviously have to pay for those revisions. We have
That's a one-time fee though, correct?
Yeah. We have the issue of, we become the service center for trash hauling, and that's not to say we can't do it.
Then
But,
people be calling.
yeah, we're gonna have to have somebody who's doing
Well,
that.
They still would call a trash hauler for bad service. If they have billing questions, they would call us, but if they have service questions, they would call the hauler. There's no need for us to be the
And then the
middleman.
hauler will say, you need to call City Hall.
No, really,
And
that's
City
the
Hall will be
service.
like, you need to call the hauler.
We're gonna get the, why didn't they pick up my trash? They tipped the can over, send somebody over to pick up the debris.
This
I
was the
didn't do that. It was
uniform
all in the
trash
can
service
when
that
I
we
put it out
wanted.
there. you know, just.
Code.
Raccoon.
Raccoons.
Then we have the residential, commercial, industrial question, whether to just do residential. I think Joe's point's a good one. If you do residential, you're putting, that's gonna have a positive effect or a negative effect, depending on,
We can,
an effect on lowering commercial rates.
we can always add it later if that's something we wanna.
One of the issues that we talked about was if we contract with somebody or give them a franchise and it includes recycling, you know, we already know that Republic benefits from recycling because they were able to lower their overall rate if people signed up for the recycling. And it's because they have their own recycling center and they've got a system for marketing the product and, you know, they make money at it. If we have an agreement with a company and includes recycling, what effect does that have on the county recycling
Didn't we
center?
have somebody come in and say that it wasn't gonna affect
They-
our,
Yeah, but that was
yes,
just
they did.
one carrier doing recycling, so what happens in the whole town? Now you only have county residents supplying recycling goods to the recycling center. And the city residents outweigh, you know, the county residents that probably take advantage of the recycling center. This is all speculation, but if you had the entire city on a separate recycling center, how would that affect the recycling center? That make sense?
well, I don't take my recycling down there anyway. If it doesn't go in the blue trash can for pickup, then it goes in the green trash can for trash. That's kinda how.
Correct, but you're only, one trash you're with
I'm
one
only
trash
one,
service.
But I could probably tell you, the rest of the 7 on my street are probably gonna say the same thing.
You use Republic now, though, but people that don't use Republic, that use Waste Management, are not recycling. So once all those customers go to one service, does that hurt
So
the
what makes you
recycling
think
center?
that's a study that probably would have to be done? Because what makes you think that they're even recycling anyway?
Don't know. Just a question we thought of, does it hurt the recycling center? Because everyone, I think, is pretty proud of the recycling center, and I don't think anybody wants to hurt the business that they have down there now.
But an overall aspect of recycling and being a good green human in the earth
Yeah?
states that, you know, it's a better opportunity for people to feel better about what they're putting into their trash
Yeah.
cans. You know, I mean,
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe, I like the recycling at the curbside.
Oh, I do too.
One thing is, I can put everything in one little basket.
Yeah. One stream, they
You
call that
know,
one stream.
and I don't have to go down to recycling and separate my cardboards.
jugs and.
It's more convenient,
I agree
it's
100%.
easy.
Well, what if we can create through our contract some benefit for the recycling center? Like, the hauler will provide the trailer and, you know, we'll buy their product. So they don't have to haul it somewhere else.
Okay, so we want to protect the jobs down there.
I don't know.
So
do we-
recycling was set up to be good citizens and, you know, and recycle products. That's the reason it was set up. And now you're gonna have a company that's gonna do that. So why do we, I mean, what are we doing it for? We just wanna recycle. Who doesn't?
Yeah. I mean, right now, we're supporting,
I don't get it.
financially, we're supporting the recycling center. We just paid out,
10,000.
yeah, to support the recycling. So they're not in the black. They're a non-for-profit that loses money every year. We have to support them. So all the material that they sell now, that they don't cover their costs. So once we take that away from them, even more material away from them, it probably will hurt their business. But do we care? I hate to say it that way, but I mean,
Well,
are we?
they
it's
serve the
not-
function, now somebody else is gonna serve a different function.
Yeah.
Well, but
I mean,
it's a joint city-county effort, and the people who are out in the county without this contract wouldn't have a place, if they fail, there's no place for them to take their recyclables.
But that could be something else we set up in the contract,
think they're
where we
more
could set up
business.
a
I think
single
a lot
point
more from business
where
than they do.
the hauler that
Resident.
wins the contract also has to set up a site where they can come down and the county residents can come in and separate and do a recycling program. So, but
Is that a non-for-profit recycling down there, or is that corporate?
No, it's
Maybe we need to have a work session with the recycling center before we go any farther.
It'd be tough to figure out those numbers though, you know, to figure.
No, but still, at least what we need is
Yeah.
shut them out.
Yeah. I think some type
I
of meeting
mean,
would be,
I would hate to see the city pay more money to recycling because
That's what's
we're
gonna
saving
end up-
money
That's what's gonna end up happening.
over here.
I mean, we're spending 10 grand to support it. Do we need to do that going forward if we go to one carrier?
I don't know, maybe they do a special recycling
Day or something.
tax out in the county or something.
I'm asking the question. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm saying, yeah, so. We're all about protecting taxpayers' money, and if we're going about this
We're
route.
all
do we-
about recycling too.
Yeah,
Green.
yeah. Maybe before the public hearing, can we have ask the recycling center to representatives to come in? Kind of briefly.
Yeah, I think we need before, I mean, I don't want to have a public hearing unless we know what we're going to propose.
Right.
So we need to make decisions about, you know, what the content's going to be before we ask the public to comment.
Well, first of all, we need to.
Unless you want to have a
know
public
the
hearing just to determine whether they
Recycling center.
endorse the concept.
Yeah.
And, but I think without some details, the public hearing doesn't serve us well.
I would love some estimated costs of what they're paying in DeSoto and
I
Herculean.
can survey the ones who are doing it.
And see what the cost difference is compared to what we were paying a year ago and what we might expect to pay, you know, next year.
It's about 4 or 5 phone calls.
Yeah.
Because once we get too far away from here, it doesn't really,
Makes sense.
you know, if you're in DeSoto and providing service, you're 10 minutes from a landfill. So I imagine that affects their costs. They don't have to have the transfer station. They just go straight from pickup to the landfill.
Dexter. That's where I deal.
Collection
Yeah.
dates and times of service, I think you can set those in your contract, but they have
Yeah.
to,
That's one of the elements that you would have in a contract.
I think we make it mandatory that they come for trash and recycling on the same day and limit the hours that they can be in town. You know, 7 AM to 7 PM or 8 AM to 5 PM or whatever.
Yeah, that time of service is the, you know,
Designation of disposal sites, what does that mean?
do you tell them they have to take it to a certain landfill?
What's the difference?
I don't think we would be in that business, but I know one community says that you've got to go to the Waco landfill. But, you know, I wouldn't do it.
I don't know why that would affect it. Collection equipment, what is that? Just what type of machines they use?
The arm, is that what you're talking about?
Um,
Where they bring the arm out?
Well, one of the reasons that communities get involved in this is because when there were all sorts of independents, people were running through town in a pickup truck, you know, with sideboards on it. And it would leach, and liquids were leaching out all over the street, and, you know, but it really isn't so much of a problem. But, yeah, if you're talking about wear and tear on roads, you're gonna have weight limits? You know, you're gonna prescribe the
That's
size of
thing,
the
if you-
equipment?
They only come in one time, I mean, they're gonna be pretty heavy. I mean, think of how much trash they're gonna be picking up,
You know,
you know?
Well, they still
That's
can
why they
only
alternate
do,
days, is so that they don't get so heavy, right?
I think they can only do so many per day.
By law?
Number,
By-
no, by the
Capacity.
time,
Capacity.
capacity and
Mhm.
service time between, you know, stops and,
So then they would say, well, we only have one day, we need to get 5 trucks in there to pick up all this trash.
Hopefully it'd be
Say
one
that-
truck
say
per
that
street.
again?
Well, I mean, if you only limit them to one day.
Oh, no, we wouldn't limit them to one
You
day.
said one day a week?
Well,
Well,
they,
yeah,
they,
but
would-
it
one
could
day
be
they
different
would come,
sections.
yeah,
You
one,
know,
one day they would come for
Ward
both.
4 could be
Got it.
Mondays and,
I was thinking like,
Yeah.
one day, how are they gonna get all that trash?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, no, just
Yeah.
that on the same day,
This
they
Not the
would
whole
pick up
city.
both.
This section.
They would pick up your trash and your recycle, that's what I meant, one day is, they would pick up both, yeah.
I just was seeing it as being like one day for the whole town. I was like, wow, how are they gonna do that?
So one of the considerations is to establish standards for the equipment. Although again, with the two kind of main players here, they don't run equipment that doesn't meet those standards. In Jefferson County, all of the trash haulers have to come to the county and have their equipment inspected before it can be put in service, and a sticker goes on it. And if one of those, the trash trucks running around the county doesn't have that sticker on it, then they're subject to being fined. And that's how the county makes sure that the equipment that's being used is safe and
And then you'd have to have somebody who knew what
in
they
good
was
shape.
looking at.
Well, that's a good point. The guys who do that really didn't know much, but
Yeah, it's
It's
blue.
on a sticker.
But any type of inspection would be better than nothing.
And who's gonna do that? Dave?
I mean,
Jimmy Jones?
I don't know, but it might be worth looking.
Dave could do it.
Yeah.
Pam?
Barton.
Things leaking hydraulic oil and, you
Yeah,
know,
you
got
gotta have
wires
that. Yeah,
frayed
that
off
is
and, you know, you kind of.
at least you know they plugged the oil leak and they wrapped the wires before they brought it to you. There's no guarantee that it was gonna be like that when they left.
Equipment and containment?
Again, you have enclosed equipment as opposed to open deads, so things fly around.
Sure.
You don't want it leaking out, they don't want it leaking out.
Don't want
either.
it leaking and you don't want it blowing.
Sure. Term of contract?
Well,
2 year, 3 year, 4 year?
that's the question.
Longer the better.
Longer,
I
the
guess
longer
the
the cheaper.
Right,
That's
the
what
longer
we're,
the cheaper.
that's what we've been told.
Yeah.
Did you give me a 1-year contract? Here. 2-year contracts? Here. 3-year contracts?
Right.
Bulk trash service, like adding
talked about that, yeah.
adding additional services on. Yard waste, kind of same thing. Charitable services.
Is that like what you're talking about when they come around and pick up the big stuff, or?
Oh, you know, do you put a provision in there that so many dollars are spent to support public agencies?
Then our-
or public
then our
event-
trash bill
Public
goes up
events,
by
maybe.
that
You know,
many
maybe we
dollars.
make sure that they do free service, extra service on Jour de Fête weekend.
Oh, I see.
That-
Nickel and dime.
Something that, you know, that is kind of like a giving back. You know, you got this contract, you're making money, you know.
Yeah.
Go kick.
I
They
can't
give
use
us
that.
I think the
raise.
cheap bill would be the best kickback ever.
I know.
We talked about
Senior-
variable rates, you know, that's another issue that other communities
Yeah, I think that'd be mandatory.
address. The charitable services and corporate citizenship are kind of the same question.
So.
All right, so I'm going to survey the landscape and find out kind of what rates comparable sized communities who do contract are getting within the region. I'll talk to Waste Management and Republic and see if they'll give us some indication of their customer base in St. Genevieve, just so we kind of know the order of magnitude. We'll contact this person that Carl met and see when he might be available to come. And based on his schedule, I'll,
Way he talked, he'll be here tomorrow.
well, I'll
He's gonna
schedule,
try to sell us a trash.
when I get this information,
He's gonna try to sell us anything he can.
He probably won't come once we find out we're gonna outsource it. He's like, oh, you're gonna
He
outsource
might
it?
talk you
Oh.
into buying a trash
Yeah,
truck.
right, yeah.
you think that's his motivation? Huh?
This is-
I think that's his ultimate motivation.
I don't know, you may have talked about this, Did you talk about the city of Perryville?
Yeah, the way
Yeah.
they do it, municipal,
Yeah.
they have, yeah.
But they own their own equipment and.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
that's kind of stuff.
I don't.
And you're gonna get a whole.
I'm not sure what a trash compactor truck costs, but I know it's not
Plenty.
little.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Can you pick one of those
But I
up
was
at the
I was
auction,
just
John?
curious as to how that's working for them
John,
down
can you get
there.
one of those at the auction for us?
I would say it's not like your,
You know,
Street
if they're
sweeper?
coming out
Big
okay on
farm
it, you know,
tractor.
it might be something good to find out.
Well, I have relationships in Perryville. I can call.
Yeah.
Because they do that Ward 1 thing where everybody rake their leaves out to the front.
That's a neat
They-
interesting.
They
I've
do
been down
that
there
by
before.
wards.
More organized
Yeah, it's
and.
very organized.
And so when this guy's available and I have the answer to these questions, I'll schedule another work session on this issue.
And,
Sounds good.
you know.
Find out the number of subscribers,
Yeah.
possibly. Okay.
Yeah. I'll ask, you know, all I can do is say, I'm sorry, I can't reveal that information to you.
We take a few minutes.
Okay, time
And
for a break.
I'm sure we'll have more questions at the next workshop after we hear from people.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You ready, Pam?
That for, that subdivision split.
Roll call.
What is this question?
Alderman Okenthus.
Here.
Alderman Ross.
Here.
Alderwoman Broomfield. Alderman Steiger.
Here.
Alderman Jokers.
Here.
Alderman Stupi.
Here.
Alderwoman Zerwig.
Here.
Alderman Skaggs.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Pam. The mayor is out of town on business. I'd take a motion, I'd entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Move to approve the revised agenda.
I'll second that.
And Pam? Okay, any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do we have any personal appearances? All right, Martin, it's your turn. City Administrator's report.
Okay, an item that's not on the report that I'd like to comment on is to thank the American Legion. They provided new flags for here and the visitor center. We will send them a written thank you, but wanted to take the opportunity to inform you and to thank them publicly for their efforts. The agreements with MoDOT on the trail project are did our review on communications and have concluded that the city will be money ahead by going with Big River, so that's on your agenda tonight, and is a contract with Big River for telephone and internet service. The we wrote the there's a committee, there's representatives in the chamber and the Tourism Advisory Council and me and Stephanie, who kind of meet to make decisions about the website. And our tourism website manager had tendered his resignation. He's in California, used to live here, and so we needed to go out and it's honestly something it's like Greek, you know, but I wrote the scope of work and advertisement for the conversion of the website. I put it on the internet and got just like deluged with responses from people in India, Pakistan, and Ghana. So we've got some other ways of advertising it, and I'm going to have to run an ad in the paper just because for competitive purposes I have to do that. But it's kind of having to sift through a lot of stuff to get what I want. The engineer on the Safe Routes project and I met a couple of times. The notice to proceed went out today, so hopefully the Safe Routes project will be underway next week. We still haven't gotten Missouri Natural Gas in town to finish the work on Market Street, and it's kind of like working with the railroad. They work at their own pace. The TIF committee met last night, if you haven't already heard, and voted to forward a recommendation to you to establish the TIF for the Central City area, and that will be on your meeting agenda on the 28th. Other than that, there's nothing there that requires any special comment, and unless you have some questions about other items on the report. Yes, sir.
How much do they have to do, Missouri Natural Gas, to get us moving again?
Well, they did the main crossing they did, and now they have 6 service lines they have to replace before we can put the lower before we can put the storm sewer in.
So that probably isn't as difficult as what they just had.
No, the big one they did.
Right.
And now I gotta get back and do and I don't know if it's a different welding crew, maybe? I mean, I don't know why the same crew couldn't have done them all, or what, but, that crew left, and we're waiting for the next crew to come in.
What were they doing this last week, like Monday?
Lowering
Is that
that
what they
main
were
line.
doing, the main?
Lowering
Yeah.
the main
Main or
line,
the other
yeah.
one?
That was the big line. The Missouri Natural Gas was
Yeah.
working?
Well, once Missouri National Gas gets in there and fixes that, what kind of timeline are we looking at as far as,
A couple of weeks.
just a couple of weeks after that, they should both finish all that up and close it up?
I've had several calls about it.
It's conspicuous, just sitting there, nothing happening.
Yeah.
It sure is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anything else? Staff reports? See none?
Well, I have the written reports. Darn it.
Didn't see any.
Steve,
please.
I don't know if
Steve, do you have anything to report?
No, I'm sure.
All
Okay.
right. Committee reports.
No,
Committee report,
he
committee
already
report?
talks about everything that happened with the sign committee, so I don't have anything else to say that, but, except that we didn't meet, and we had some good discussions about, but there's not much we can do until we get the approval from MoDOT.
Landmarks approved the location of the sign and the design of the sign that's going to go outside the courthouse on Monday night. So we have the material, and we'll proceed with the construction of that sign.
Mm.
I ended up making it smaller. We'd originally had
4x8.
4x8, and when we put that mock-up there, many of you have seen, it was like, whoa, that's way too big for that space. So we knocked it down to 3x5, and I think it looks a lot better. And when the only thing the county commission has asked is that we landscape under it so that they don't have to, the mower can cut around it without having to worry about weed whipping or getting under it. And the other comments have been that we provide either rock, and the county wants us to use that decorative rock they used in their planters under it, which certainly they have some, so we'll do that. It's whether we should pour
Will they have to
exposed
step into the
aggregate
grass?
standing pad in front of it, so people, you don't want to have rock for people who have mobility problems. So we'll probably do that as well.
Can they stay on the sidewalk to review it, or they
Yeah,
have to
but
actually
you-
kind of step into it?
Yeah, you can see it from the sidewalk, but you'll have people wanting to get close to
Because
it.
of the intersection.
Particularly the large kind of directional sign, that'll be more visible from the sidewalk, but the smaller quarterly events that we'll put up, will probably be something you have to get closer to read.
All right.
There's, just to make an announcement, there is a tourism advisory council meeting this Friday here at City Hall at 10 a.m. So,
Tomorrow?
So-
tomorrow, yeah.
No, I think it's 9:30.
9:30?
Yeah,
Says
but if they
10.
come at 10,
It used to be 9:30, they changed it to
Oh,
10.
okay,
It's
sorry.
10 a.m. tomorrow here at City Hall.
They changed it, but I didn't change
Yeah.
my calendar.
all right, consent agenda, minutes, regular meeting, February 28th.
If there are no corrections or additions, I'll move to approve.
Second. Who second?
Me.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the minutes to the Board of Aldermen meeting, special meeting, March 7. What?
Second.
John? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. Pam, you want to, do I need to open this first?
I think we normally read it.
Would you read
Sure.
it, please? Thank you.
The mayor and the Board of Aldermen of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri will hold a public hearing on Thursday, March 14, 2013 at 7 p.m. at City Hall, 165 South 4th Street. The purpose of this hearing is to consider the acceptance and approval of a subdivision plat of Flugia Estates, a resub of lots 20, 21, and part of lot 22 of the re-subdivision of Block 3, St. Jude Acres, within the city of St. Genevieve, Missouri.
All right, we're going to open that at 12 minutes after 7 p.m. All right.
This would be a good time for Brenda or the property owners to explain what's on the agenda, rather than waiting for the vote.
Yes, this is a minor subdivision in St. Jude on St. Anne Street. It is a simple lot split into two separate lots. There was a variance requested and recommended for approval by the commission in the front lot width, which in an R1 residential district is required to be 80 foot. The majority of the lots in St. Jude is around 70 feet. These two particular lots are 67.2 and 67.3 feet across. The board or the commission recommended approval based on the fact that numerous lots in St. Jude subdivision vary their widths anywhere from 65 to 80 feet.
It's a curious situation
Yes, it
for
is.
me as a real estate person. A plat was recorded that had lots defined, and year before the city adopted subdivision regulations, I suspect. And
Yes.
but then the property was sold by meets and bounds description, so the property owners didn't get property that matched the recorded plat because the meets and bounds descriptions weren't the same as what had been recorded. And I don't know who does title work or who did the title work, but it's got to be difficult to write a title policy on one of these. The owners are saying, just wanting to kind of go back to the original condition. It's just, you know, make it the two lots that were originally recorded. So it's a pretty simple request. It's just an interesting set of circumstances.
Do you have any questions? The Flugies are here in case you do have any questions for them.
I think it's pretty straightforward, I think.
Yeah.
What's your recommendation, Brenda?
I recommend approval.
Anyone else? All right, I'm gonna, yeah, I guess I need a motion.
Or just close it.
Just
Yeah,
close.
close.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
close
the hearing.
this public hearing at 14 minutes after 7 p.m. All right. Resolution 2013 dash, I can't read that,
15.
15.
A resolution of the city of St. Genevieve, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to execute a property maintenance agreement with Doral T. Palmer.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed. Old business?
Bill number 3910, second reading, an ordinance of the city of St. Genevieve, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the city of St. Genevieve and the St. Genevieve Municipal Band.
Motion to approve.
Second.
First, second,
Discussion.
discussion.
On chapter 2, section C, it talks about, and this is just a minor correction, it talks about Memorial Day service and German Day festivities. I don't think we, on probably what would be considered the back of the second page, chapter C. I think that's probably 4th of July and maybe the French festival or something else along the line, so, That was the only correction that I saw, because I don't think that they do Memorial Day services or a German Day festivities. I don't think we have such a German day.
We don't have German Day, but they do, you think they're thinking the German Day, the German, that's, you know.
There's
how
a
the German
separate
Day
thing where
is.
it talks about the
I
German
know.
band, so.
All right, so what are you asking, Alderman Steiger?
I just,
Well, it actually
I didn't want
doesn't
to,
read exactly right.
I don't know what I'm asking, I just know there's a mistake.
You're recommending
Yes.
that we amend the language to be Independence Day and French Heritage Days?
But I don't know if that's today, it might be, Jour de Fête.
No.
It
Jour
might
de
be-
Fête?
It might be,
That's,
that might,
that would be Jour de Fête when the German band
Yeah.
plays.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's what this is
Yeah, German
supposed
Day
to
Festival
allude
is Jour de
to,
Fête.
but it's not written like that.
Well, we have the opportunity to revise it.
We need to do that.
You
So,
made the motion, do you,
yes. I would-
you agree with that
Yes, yes, I do.
for a revision?
Mhm.
John, Alderman Stupi, seconded that. You agree?
Yep.
Any more
no
discussion?
other discussion from me.
We good? All right, we're gonna have a roll call vote.
Alderwoman Broomfield?
Yes.
Alderman Ross?
Yes.
Alderman Okenthus?
Yes.
Alderman Steiger?
Yes.
Alderman Skaggs?
Yes.
Alderwoman Zerwig?
Yes.
Alderman Stupi?
Yes.
Alderman Jokers?
Yes.
8 yes, 0 no's. Bill number 3910 now becomes ordinance 3848.
Okay, new business?
Bill number 3911, first reading, an ordinance of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into a 3-year service agreement with Big River Telephone Company for telephone services.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Bill number 3912.
An ordinance of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into a third-party contract with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources, State Historic Preservation Office, and John Leak for a window restoration and maintenance workshop. First reading.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, I was trying to figure out exactly how much the city pay for, is it $5,300 that we're gonna pay, the city's gonna pay $5,300 to bring this guy in from Portland, Oregon?
We'll have a grant,
It would be a grant.
yeah.
All of our donations is in kind.
Pardon me?
All of our
Okay.
is in kind. Could we maybe have Brenda come up and
Sure.
kind of give
Brenda, you
a
wanna-
plug for what's happening? Brenda, can you kind of come up and just tell us again what opportunity you're able to bring?
Yes, Mr. Leek will come and actually conduct a 3-day workshop on window restoration and maintenance. He will also, in that 3 days, conduct training for the Historic Preservation Commission and will give a presentation open to the public for free. The intensive training on the window restoration itself will be 2 days. That will be limited to possibly 8 to 9 people because it is so intensive. And there will be a small fee that will be added to those who will be having the intensive workshop. This is a nationally known restorationist, preservationist who is on the same level as Bill Yap and some others who work with a national group for window restoration and preservation. He has authored a new book, and that will also be available at a very discounted price, which we are going to include in the cost of the registration fee.
It's a good service for our community as well, to help them.
Yes, the idea, Mr. Leeks, not his theory, but his philosophy is to teach people how to do it themselves and to encourage especially youth to go into the preservation trades. And the more people we have locally who know how to do it can teach each other how to do it and so on. So we won't have any other workshops to have to come to for this particular reason. But this isn't the only trade that he's specializes in. He's in all kinds of preservation trades.
Only 8 or 9 people, who do you see as attending this class? I mean, is it going to be open to the
It's
public?
open to the public,
But
whoever.
whether the 8 or 9 people.
Right, anyone who is,
Will these people go out and teach other people, or?
hopefully, yes. But anyone who is interested in learning a new trade or going into this trade, anyone who is wanting to learn how to work on their own home so they can maintain their own homes. Anyone who's in preservation who would like to learn and go out and teach other people.
So how do you select 8 or 9 people? I mean, what?
It's going to be-
You get the right people to.
Right, we haven't gone to that point yet.
Okay.
I would think it's going to be a first come, first served basis.
And what kind of schedule, and then like days of the week is this going to be?
It's going to-
be on a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, or?
No, it's going to be a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday
Okay. Day or evening, or?
day.
So it needs, so somebody would have to take off work or something to
Correct.
attend
At
this.
least on one day. yes.
This is his schedule. This was his schedule, right?
Yes, yes.
Because he's a busy,
Right,
high sought after
right.
preservationist.
Well, I just thought it would,
How soon can
it
they
would limit
contact
some
you?
people from attending because they have to take off work to attend this workshop and pay some money to do it too, you know, so.
But, I mean, he's gonna help with preservation of windows and people being able to preserve their own homes without having,
Well,
this is
I
a
don't
big.
disagree with that. I'm saying it's going to be difficult for some people to get there because of the days.
But we can't
Yeah,
change those.
Yeah, in setting
Yeah.
the days to have it, I depended on his experience on what was the most attended. So that's what he said was.
How soon can they contact you to sign up?
Well, we haven't returned our agreement with state yet, so we're not allowed to do any kind of official advertising. We're going to do a broad advertisement on it and marketing. He is also going to assist us with local hardware stores to get them involved. We're going to purchase all of the materials used locally. We would like to educate the local hardware stores what materials are appropriate and what will be needed in this community, and give them an opportunity to participate as well. So he has offered to contact them and let them know what's needed and set that up with our local people, our local shops.
I think it's a great idea, and I'm just, concerned that we make sure that we pass this experience on, if we get the right people in there, that can maybe have sessions later to.
You can't force them
That-
to do
that
it.
is the-
Yeah, they have to
That
pay
is
for
We
it.
can't- We can't force them to do it.
No, but.
But hopefully, people will be
Help them
charitable
until we
enough
get the-
and excited enough about the
some people
experience
in
to
there
want
that
to
can
teach
do
it.
that.
Right.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm gonna move for a second reading.
Second that.
Motion second for a second reading. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Second reading, Pam?
An
Bill
or-
3912.
An ordinance of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into a third-party contract with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources, State Historic Preservation Office, and John Leake for a window restoration and maintenance workshop. Second reading.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
Discussion?
Go with that, Sean?
Yeah.
Roll call?
Alderman Skaggs.
Yes.
Alderwoman Zerwig.
Yes.
Alderman Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman Steiger.
Yes.
Alderman Okenthus.
Yes.
Alderwoman Broomfield.
Yes.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
8 yes, 0 no's. Bill number 3912 now becomes ordinance 3849.
Bill number 3913, Pam?
An ordinance accepting and approving the subdivision plat of Fluvius Estates, a resub of lots 20, 21, and part of lot 22 of the re-subdivision of Block 3, St. Jude Acres, within the city of St. Genevieve, Missouri. First reading.
Move to approve.
Second.
Terry, Linda. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Okay, go to bill number 3914.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the City of St. Genevieve and the St. Genevieve Community Access Television Board, Channel 798, first reading.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got it, Pam? Discussion?
I
All-
think it looks pretty good.
The city attorney reviewed this in our item 5, term agreement amendment. He advised against the sentence. This agreement will be automatically renewed on the same date each year until such time as one or both parties deems the changes to the contract are necessary. He thinks that is ill-advised. Although he understands that it's to kind of keep us from having to do this every year. He thinks we ought to do it every year.
It's not a big deal. You go with the band,
So if you approve it
take that out.
with that amendment.
With that amendment?
Yes.
Okay.
Second?
Yes.
Yes,
As amended.
as amended.
Yes, as amended.
Any other discussion?
No, I know, you might note that we are asking for quarterly payments as opposed to twice yearly. And I think we've talked to the city about that, and that's not an issue as far as how we get paid. Correct, Pam?
Correct.
Thank you.
Everybody's not talking about the amount, but it's the same level of funding.
Yes, the same level of funding, just breaking it up into 4 payments as opposed to 2.
Or 2.
Just to helps with, it helps with our financials.
Understand.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. All right. Public comments?
Say so. I think what you've done is really stupendous for us, because it helps us get on track with our programs. We don't have any objection to, renewing this and having automatic renewal at all. We were just trying to save the situations where we have to redo it over and over again. But in that clause, it simply says that if you did approve it, you or us would have the option to change it at any one time for that. But I can see what Elpers is saying. So we have no objection to any of that section. And I thank you for your support, I really do.
Public comments? Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Acting Mayor, City Administrator, and the rest, and the book board. My name is Carl Weiner. I live at 1158 Valley Spring Trail. This might seem a little odd bringing this up, the way I'm going to bring it up, but I got a purpose for it. In one of the meetings, I said I did like the idea of forced mandatory trash hauling. My reason was competition keeps the price down. You go to St. Louis, out in the county, they force the people with mandatory trash hauling with 1 unit or 1 carrier, and it almost turned into a war up there, from what I heard. Now, we'll get off that subject. Your reasoning for this is the hardness on the streets, or the travel and the weight, whatever. this has been an ongoing deal for years with the city of St. Genevieve with the street issue. Now, if you do this, will you limit it, one beer truck to come in? Would it be Soaring Eagles, Caulfield Beer, or Bluff City? Will you have only one food vendor to distribute food to the different areas? Would you have contractor who is in the hauling dirt, digging ditches, like Yokers Brothers, Vern Bowman, Mr. Geck? I could go on and go on. You have people bringing stuff down to the Merchant in Maine down there, bringing. They're all trucks. Now I have a contract with a trash hauler. Who's going to pay to break my contract? The city? Or do I have to pay twice? Pay to break my contract and then go with another? And something else I'm trying to get straight. I talked to Mr. Steiger. He made a comment about CWI or Waste Management bought out one another. I asked him, that's what I asked him a little while ago, is who bought out DNR?
They pulled it, didn't
CWI Republic is still operating as an independent carrier. He's my trash pickup. I don't generate enough trash to get into anything else. I take mine down to the recycling center. The way it was is set up is it's supposed to be a recyclable can, a dumpster, and a trash dumpster. They're going to. My letter said they was going to pick up one thing one week and the other the next week, every other week. And when the bill was going to be presented, it was going to be more than what I had contracted for the way it is right now. If I have to go into this, I assure you that I'm going to go out of the city, haul trash back in, and fill up my dumpsters, because I'm going to get my money's worth. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Public comments?
My name's Donnie Stupi. I'm the Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus, and I know you were talking about the construction going on in front of the KC. We had a recent meeting, they brought up how long is it going to take. The pipes are in the yard, they may be killing the grass. And also on April 13th, on a Saturday, we have a fundraiser for Sergeant Pollock. We're going to have a car, tractor, motorcycle show. I hope they're done by then, so we can use our grounds and the one-way traffic won't keep the people away from coming down and spending the day with the barbecue, the music, and so just, I know you answered it the best you could, you don't
We're all anxious
know.
for them to finish. If those pipes aren't out of the way, we can ask them to put them somewhere else.
Yeah, but with the one-lane traffic there may keep a lot of people from coming down that day, and like I said, it's a fundraiser
open, isn't
for
it?
Sergeant
Isn't it
Pollock,
open?
so.
But it's one lane.
But I know it's out
Yeah, I
of
mean,
your
but
hands,
it's
so
open.
just a
You
question
can't
they
really-
wanted to
Well, I can
try to be answered, so.
Huh?
Thank you for your time.
April 14th will be here for the night.
Extra gas.
Any other public comments?
Yeah. Good point.
All right. Other business? We've got a liquor license request.
Move to approve.
Second.
Pam, you want to read it?
Sure. Approval of a liquor license request for Jamie's Holding Company doing business as Cafe Genevieve located at 950 St. Genevieve Drive.
All right, any discussion? I got a first and a second. No discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Pass. All right, board members,
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No one opposed? We're done.